Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're doing a minute-by-minute breakdown of a massive, high-stakes military engagement. We're going to get right into the tactics, the bleeding-edge tech, and honestly, the intense economic realities of modern combat. We'll be looking directly at the data from our source material to see exactly how these incredibly tense, multi-domain scenarios actually unfold in real time. Picture this. It's May 28, 2026, the Persian Gulf. It's the pitch-black early hours of the morning, and a very fragile ceasefire is suddenly pushed to the absolute breaking point. Alarms just start blaring across the combat information centers of U.S. warships. Out of nowhere, radar screens in U.S. command centers light up with inbound threats, and they're moving fast and low over the waves. Which immediately brings up the massive question we have to answer. How exactly does the U.S. respond to a drone swarm? Out on the water, you've got 4 Iranian one-way attack drones airborne, and they are tracking straight toward commercial shipping. But actually, that's only part of the problem. There's a much more critical countdown happening on the ground. Deep inside a compound near the port of Bandar Abbas, a 5th drone is being fueled up on a launch rail, and it's got less than 15 minutes to ignition. Section 1. The layered intercept. Okay, let's dive into this, because in scenarios like this, every single second is absolutely crucial. So these mass-produced drones, they're specifically designed to slip right beneath standard radar coverage. That means heavy, land-based strike fighters just can't get there in time. The immediate high-speed aerial response has to fall to the carrier strike group. FA-18 Super Hornets vector in, and they lock onto the super faint heat signatures of those little piston engines. To take them down, pilots can unleash highly agile AIM-9X Sidewinder missiles. Or, if they need to go old school, the pilot can literally switch to gun mode, line up the crosshairs, and physically shred the drones right out of the sky. But, shooting them down is really only half the battle here. It requires a highly precise electronic warfare kill chain. And what's really interesting about this slide is how the Super Hornets don't actually fly alone. They have these high-tech bodyguards trailing right behind them, the EA-18G Growler. Inside, the electronic warfare officer manages this massive, multi-million-dollar jamming suite. Step 1, they isolate the exact encrypted data streams connecting the drones to their launch site. Step 2, they blast high-powered directional energy bands directly at them. And Step 3, the connection is just severed. The swarm is completely blinded, its coordination collapses instantly, and those Super Hornets get an incredibly easy lock. Section 2, striking the source. Okay, so that takes care of the airborne drones, but to guarantee success and permanently sever that kill chain before that 5th drone can launch, Central Command authorizes a precision standoff strike. They rely on a U.S. Navy-guided missile destroyer that's sitting safely out of range. Fired straight from the ship's vertical launch system, a Tomahawk cruise missile instantly drops down to a subsonic, low-altitude flight path. It actually uses terrain contouring radar to literally hug the landscape, staying entirely below the detection threshold of Iran's coastal early warning radars. Guided by GPS, it calculates its terminal dive with pinpoint accuracy. The result? A direct hit on that Bandar Abbas ground control station. It triggers a massive secondary explosion that completely vaporizes the 5th drone, the launch mechanisms, and the entire command hub in one surgical action. Section 3. The stealth engagement. Now, while that immediate swarm is neutralized, a totally different kind of threat pops up. Hundreds of miles away, the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier is transiting the Arabian Sea. Destroyers in its network detect an aggressive Shahed 139 drone on a direct collision course, and it is totally ignoring de-escalatory hails. To intercept, the Navy deploys its absolute most advanced stealth fighter, which really highlights a stark economic asymmetry here. Look at this. You've got a $100 million F-35C Lightning launching to destroy a $70,000 drone. On paper, launching a multi-million-dollar stealth jet in the dead of night to take out a cheap piece of hardware looks like total overkill, right? Like, why not just let the drone get closer and use the ship's own automated guns? So the crucial point is understanding the doctrine of defense in depth. It's this foundational naval strategy that prioritizes engaging threats as far away from the ship as absolutely possible. Because think about it. If a drone is being shot down by the ship's own guns, it means it's already within a dangerously close 2-mile radius. And in naval warfare, a 2-mile window is just way, way too close for comfort. So deploying that F-35C actually yields some massive tactical advantages. First, it expands that interception window from a measly 2 miles out to between 50 and 100 miles, giving them plenty of time for a backup plan if the first shot misses. Second, it allows for visual identification by a human pilot. A radar blip can't tell you if a drone is carrying a camera or a high-explosive warhead. but a pilot, tracking the target right through their helmet-mounted display, can fly right up to it. And finally, it serves as a powerful de-escalation tool. The pilot can physically signal a warning. In this exact scenario, when the drone ignored the warning, hostile intent was clear. The pilot fired an AIM-9X Sidewinder, and the airframe was instantly destroyed. Section 4. Strategic Retaliation. Now, military actions of this magnitude absolutely do not happen in a vacuum. While the U.S. strike on Bandar Abbas was completely devastating, intelligence showed Iran actually retained about 30 to 40% of their missile launchers perfectly intact. So they prep a massive show of force. And since they can't easily target mobile U.S. warships out on the open ocean, their strategy shifts to a coordinated multi-domain strike to overwhelm stationary American defenses. The priority retaliation targets? Places like Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, Naval Support Activity Bahrain, multiple bases in Iraq, and Al Dhafra Air Base in the UAE. We are talking about heavily fortified, high-value allied and regional headquarters. And the human stakes here are just immense. 8,000. That is the number of American troops stationed at just one of those primary targets, Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. As the largest U.S. military installation in the Middle East, it's literally a central pillar of operations in the Gulf. To strike these massive bases from a distance, Iran would likely deploy specific ballistic missiles, like the Fateh 110 with its 300-kilometer range, or the Qam-1, which can reach all the way out to 800 kilometers. But what's really concerning is that these weapons have the capability for air-burst proximity detonation. That means the missiles are designed to detonate right above the ground, which maximizes fragmentation and drastically widens the damage area across these sprawling military bases. So we've traced the entire arc of this engagement, right? From those tense, pitch-black radar pings and the layered electronic warfare, all the way to surgical cruise missile strikes and stealth fighter intercepts. But looking back at that incredible economic asymmetry we talked about earlier, it leaves us with one really critical, lingering question. In an era of multi-domain warfare, how sustainable is the strategy of intercepting cheap, mass-produced swarms with multi-million-dollar assets? It is a delicate, extremely high-stakes balance, and it's a harsh economic reality that military planners are going to have to grapple with moving forward. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. As always, keep questioning the mechanics of the complex world around you, and I'll catch you next time.